Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Marketing Insights. Today's episode is a crypto marketing episode, all about crypto marketing insights and how the blockchain and marketing on the blockchain are changing the world rapidly as far as marketing goes. And we're going to look at some marketing analysis of the markets that are happening on this lovely Sunday, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Hope you're having a great day. And just to remind you folks, this is not a financial advice show. This is not financial advice. This is entertainment purposes only. It's also done for research purposes, like how far the sound goes on the microphone and how well you heard that. Yeah, don't take financial advice from shows you watch on YouTube. This is not about that. When I talk about marketing crypto and marketing blockchain, but if you do invest in cryptos, beware. It's a speculative market, so do your own research and don't invest in anything you don't fully understand and aren't willing and capable of completely losing. Okay, on that positive and cheery note, let's jump right into what's going on today. You can see here in the old crypto markets on Coin Market Cap. Why not? We'll look at that one today. Yeah, market cap now of 142 billion. That's up almost what, 8 billion, 10 billion since yesterday. Not bad. And BTC dominance is at 51.2%. And you can see here that the little bump that happened a couple days ago, well, just kept continuing. And it has kept going on pretty much all week. They've been having bumps every 2, 3, 4 days now. So you can see here that it's been going up nicely, and Bitcoin is up. Well, at this point, it's up 4.5% because it came down a tiny little bit off of yesterday's high. But yeah, Ethereum is up still over 10% from yesterday, and EOS over almost 13.5%. Those are pretty impressive gains across the board. Even XRP is back at 33.5 cents. I think I saw it yesterday. Yeah, over 34 cents yesterday. I think I saw it. And Litecoin's well over 50 in the $52 zone. Look at that. So we're definitely seeing coins come up and spike. Look, Tron went up again. It's now at 2.6 cents, almost 2.7 cents. There's a lot of optimism, it would seem, in the trading going on at the moment, where prices are going up, and we're seeing a lot of confidence around people who called it, people who, predicted that there would be a price, this and that, who said there would be some kind of breakout to the upside or the downside. And there was definitely a breakout to the upside or the downside. So once again, you 51%ers who believe it's going to move up, or you 51% who believe it's going to go down, and the bad 2% of mathematics in between, well, you guys were right. Amazing. It did move up, or it did move down, and this time it did move up. So yes, good job, move up team. Here's a particular analyst. This guy's name is Carl. He runs a channel called The Moon on YouTube where he does analysis. And I know people tend to say that if you don't trade live, it doesn't really count or anything. Well, whatever. There's still decent analysis that comes from traders who don't trade live, I think. There's some decent analysis, and I can tell you, this guy has called more than a few breakout moves in the past year that were, like, he posted the video and within an hour it's happened. And yeah, sure, that can happen to a lot of people, but he really has put a lot of calls out there, has to be said, for somebody who's not trading live, okay, while he's showing you whatever he's analyzing. He has put out a bunch of good calls out there, so there's no denying that. If you're looking for an interesting guy who definitely knows what he's talking about to some degree and has a clear expertise in some areas of technical analysis, yeah, I would say check out his channel. I mean, he's not endorsing me or anything like that. It's just I think it's worthwhile if you're interested in analyzing the market, seeing what the sentiment is, the general direction, the general movements. He's quite good at analysis, so I think it's worth checking out. Okay, and yeah, he did call it in this video, but a lot of people called it. Let's just be fair. Here's an interesting story purely about crypto marketing, and let me hear what you think. Say hi in the comments. If you're in our lounge, say hi. Wherever you are from around the world, folks, say hi. This is Marketing Insights, and this is Crypto Marketing Insights. Today's edition is Crypto Marketing Insights, and we are looking again at Microsoft, looking at ways to help companies make their ICO a success. So for all of you who've been aware of the crypto market, and for those of you who aren't and who are new, you might have heard that ICOs are a thing of the past, and that's an old way, a very 2017 way to raise funds. Well, actually, it turns out there's still a bunch of ICOs happening. Yes, of course, it's far less than you had during the crazy hyperbolic hype of the end of 2017, but there are still many ICOs happening, relatively, speaking. There are as many now as there were at the beginning of 2017, even a little bit more. So it's not a thing of the past entirely, but there are now more and more restrictions in place, let's put it that way, thanks to some clarity, but not too much of it. So a lot of it is still kind of self-regulated at this point, although there is increasing clarity. So there are places where you can get good, clear clarity when it comes to doing ICOs, and it's not fully dead, and you don't have to only do them outside of the US, right? But, that is an increasingly popular way of doing them because people don't want to be in the US, but it doesn't really matter if you are or you aren't. If you're not in the US, well, you can't, if you can't market it to US customers anyway, that's going to severely limit your growth potential. And if you're not marketing to the US customers, that's fine. You can still have the rest of the world, which is still most of the world, but it's not the strongest economy included. So, there are limitations to if you choose to market to the US or not. However, as an industry, ICOs, are still around, and they're still, we're still looking here. You can see the chart here. We have 46 ICOs in February. We had 114 of them in January, right? We had 247 in December. So we're not seeing the death of ICO. During the bear market, you can see here that there are well over, 1,000 ICOs that happened just last year. So for anyone to say that ICOs are dead, they clearly don't know what they're talking about on the whole. But yes, of course, it has a bad reputation now, relatively to 2 years ago. But that doesn't mean they're all gone. And that doesn't mean that people aren't investing in ICOs. They're investing in ICOs, absolutely. You can see the number here, money raised. Sure, the numbers are smaller than we had back in the crazy height of ICO madness, right? But you can see here, even in March of 2018, right during the bear market, while everything was collapsing, over 3.5 billion were raised for ICOs. And even in the following months, more than 4 billion in total were raised. That's, there's some crazy amounts of money being raised in this stuff. We're talking billions and billions of dollars. And so it makes sense that Microsoft, which is a very traditional company when it comes to marketing, frankly, for all of its tech and everything, it's a very traditional company. And for them to be interested in helping pushing forward ICOs says a lot about the kind of philosophy and values that Microsoft has, and what kind of projects and use cases they're interested and willing to actually get behind, right? So it is not so much of a surprise to see this. And so therefore, I'm not surprised that Microsoft Azure is basically tapping into the ICO industry or ICO market. It doesn't mean they're all going to get the same solution, right? They're calling it Stratus, by the way, in case you're wondering. But their Stratus solution is intended to make it easier for companies to run more successful ICOs. And will this make it a better market for companies trying to do their ICOs? Will this make the environment better for ICOs? Well, I can tell you one thing. It will certainly add to the list of legitimate products that companies can use in order to make their ICO a success. Now, whether or not that does anything to improve the reputation of ICOs in the public eye, it's very unlikely. But it's very smart for Microsoft to have the marketing campaigns in place to promote Stratus to ICOs, because it increases their likelihood of making a sale to those companies, and more importantly, it increases the likelihood of those companies making the decision to buy that product because they think it will help them improve their specific ICO's reputation of using solid, reputable software from authoritative sources like Microsoft, and therefore hopefully running a better ICO and establishing themselves as a more blue chip type of company, right? Or in that direction, right? So that's my take on the ICO story from the ICO marketing story from Microsoft Azure. I think this is actually it is a kind of a big deal, but within the industry. I don't think this is something that's going to shake up the ICO world. But I do think it will make a difference to a lot of people when they're scanning the sites of various ICOs and they look at the logos of who their partners are, and if they see that Microsoft is on there and it's legit and they can verify it, then they'll feel a lot more confident backing those ICOs as well. It's just, even if they're just on there as this is a tool we use, they might find that to be another reason why that ICO is good. Or, they might find other problems and choose not to, but it's another good badge of authority. Let's put it that way. All in all, if you want to look at it in the square and, the straight and narrow path. That's enough about that. But there's one story here I just want to show you guys from ZY Crypto, ZY Crypto. I think you pronounce it Zy or Z, I don't know. Anyway, it's from everybody's favorite prognosticator of price of the Bitcoin world, and that is Tom Lee. Tom Lee from Stratford, who is quite an analyst, and he's always out there saying, I will talk about Bitcoin price, I won't talk about Bitcoin price, and I think he changes his mind about whether or not he will talk about Bitcoin prices more than Bitcoin prices actually change. It's remarkable. Like every time he's on television, he says something different. However, the last time he was on of note, making noise, let's say, was when he was saying he won't talk about Bitcoin prices, and lo and behold, here he is talking about Bitcoin prices. So yeah, Tom Lee, he's in the news again, CEO of FundStrat Global Advisors. And yes, although he's always been bullish, and he was, he had those very high numbers that he said it would close at last year, and of course it didn't. He's now essentially, I guess, giddy or excited or something, and saying to him the $3,900 price is just a start, and that we're headed for a much higher price by the end of this year, without being specific. He said that basically that the current rise of the global markets, especially the stock market, is basically bound to affect Bitcoin in a positive way, and also that the US dollar is relatively stable is basically good news for the Bitcoin market, right? Well, okay, the US dollar is relatively stable and declining in value every year. Isn't that wonderful? So yeah, it's relatively stable, but make sure you calculate that couple percentage every time you think about how much money you have to market with, how much money you have for your campaign. The $100,000 you have this year will be worth 98.5%, or $98,500 next year, effectively, right? And so on. So let's see how that all pans out, Mr. Lee. I wonder if his prediction will be correct. Personally, I really don't care if the price of a coin goes up or down, and certainly not if it goes up or down this year, because I believe in the long term, this is the currency we'll all be trading and working with, whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or XRP. It's going to be all of the above, by the way, right? Let's be real. You're not just going to use one thing. Do you have just one credit card? Do you use only one currency? I mean, maybe some people do, I guess, because they only live in one country, they only use one currency. But even if you have only dollars or euros or yen or whatever you use, do you never buy anything online where you could use another currency as easily as a click of a button, like on Amazon or Ali or any of the sites that you might use? Right? You could, right? You could easily pay in another currency. So why not crypto? Save you the hassle, save you the time, save you the transaction fees, save you the money. And that's why I think people are basically going to mass adopt eventually, because they will figure out how convenient and easy it is. Look at the Blue Wallet. Have you seen the Blue Wallet from the Lightning Network? This thing is amazing. Check out Blue Wallet. Look at it. Look for it in the Google Play Store. Amazing. Again, these guys did not endorse me. But if you haven't seen what Lightning Network can do, I want you to see what Blue Wallet can do. There's an amazing video. If you want to see a great demo of it, actually, there's a few of them. But check out Ivan on Tech. Check out Ivan on Tech doing a demo of the Lightning Network on Blue Wallet. You watch that video. It's like a few minutes, well worth your time. He posted it a couple days ago, I think yesterday or the day before. You can see right there how fast it is. Literally, if you send money from Blue Wallet through Blue Wallet, basically on Lightning Network, it doesn't have to be through Blue Wallet, but that's just an example of a wallet. If you just send money on Lightning Network, by the time, when you hit send, let's say you're holding the two phones next to each other, or a screen and a monitor and a phone. By the time you move your eyes from one phone to the other, just turn your head to the other phone, the money's there. It's practically instantaneous. It's far less than a second. We're talking tenths of a second, maybe even less. I don't know how fast it was. It was insanely fast, and that is definitely one way to get massive adoption. And that is really the only thing that will actually create real value in the mind of the only people that really matter to answer the question as to whether or not crypto will become a mass market thing or not. And that's the mind of the average consumer. Will the average consumer use something like Lightning Network? I can tell you it's so fast and the fees are so low that if you use it, right, and they have the right mentality in the app and everything, they use the word sats. How long have I been saying use satoshis? Start speaking in sats and satoshis and SATs, because that's where we're going to be heading. We're not going to be talking dollars in 5-10 years. We're going to be talking satoshis when Bitcoin hits $1 million, which, IBM's leading blockchain VP recently said it would hit $1 million. Certainly not the first wild claim to that number, right? John McAfee said it would be worth $1 million or he'll eat his manhood. Lots of other people have said it will be worth $100 million eventually, which would be $1 per Satoshi. If it even hits $1 million, we're talking 1 penny per Satoshi. At that point, it would be effectively a legitimate currency, as long as it would have enough places to be used. But it would be hard to imagine a world where it's worth $1 million and can't be used anywhere, because why would it be worth that much if it can't be used anywhere? And it already can be used in many places, right? There's a growing list of shops and sites and companies and people that accept crypto, right? Whatever crypto they accept. I don't care, Bitcoin Lite, what's it called? Oh, Litecoin, I'm just kidding. And all the other varieties of Bitcoin and, Ethereum, all the other varieties of those, and Nextcoin and all the other varieties of those. And, you name the fork, you name the whatever, there's no shortage of blockchains out there that you can build upon. Cardano, whatever you want to, whatever you want to talk to me about. No shortage of interesting blockchains that you could use for your cryptocurrency to save money on transactions. And therefore, we will see a higher valuation of those cryptos in the coming years, because people will do whatever they can to save more money, especially once their currency of routine habit for the past 70 years falls out of favor with reality and becomes worthless again, like their great-grandparents or grandparents had to deal with during the Great Depression and World War II, right? What would happen, to your life, to anybody's life, if suddenly the rest of the world tanks and only crypto is worth anything because it's the only currency that's actually sustained by mathematics? What would happen to you? Are you prepared for that as a marketer? Are your campaigns, or is your business ready to sell in crypto in a world where fiat starts to crumble? Right? If not, you should probably prepare for that as a marketer, even if it's a very small part of your operation at present, because the future will arrive. And you will have to deal with this at some point as a marketer. You'll have to have in place ways to not just sell things in crypto, but in ways to manage your business with crypto, how to pay your vendors, how to pay your employees, how to pay your whatever it will be, local government monies. You'll have to pay those hopefully in crypto at some point. But some governments are already accepting it. We all know, like Ohio, I think Wyoming or Montana or one of those states, but definitely Ohio, you can pay state taxes in as of this year, and you can pay them in crypto. And other states are following suit, and other countries are following suit. So having your money in digital assets is a no-brainer if you're a business, if you're marketing anything. From my point of view, that's my perspective, again. And I think it's foolish not to move in this direction based on, look at, if this kind of great news had been happening nonstop for the past, 15 months during a crazy bear market, 14 months, whatever, during a crazy bear market where we lost 85% of the value, if that had happened in a fiat market, I have no doubt the effect would be an incredibly positive response to everything that's going on. But it isn't happening. It hasn't happened because we know all the reasons why. A lot of it has to do with manipulation. Okay, big players in the market doing their thing to have the best position possible for the future. That's what that is. And everyone does it because everyone does what they can. So nothing wrong with that, but that is what it is. And that's why we've had, despite this insanely awesome high volume of great news, we have no really high price right now on these coins because, again, 2018 was taken advantage of by big players for many different reasons, for many different things. Some people say it was Mt. Gox. Some people say it was just whales crashing the market, taking profits. Other people say it was just panic because there wasn't yet the delivery on the tech promise and people, ran away from it. All kinds of excuses people will give you for why the price fell. The answer is it doesn't matter what the reason was why the price fell, but it did fall. And during that year, and if you had been listening to me and other analysts, you would have heard us say constantly, this is the time to build. This is the time investors are buying. This is the time the builders are building, the innovators are innovating. People are making land grabs and building traction now, not next year, now, precisely because of this. This breakout is a very strong indicator that there is still a lot of movement and interest in this market. We aren't yet fully out of the bear market. We're not yet there on a technical level. I'm not a technical analyst, by the way. But if you just look at the obvious triangles of how far we've fallen in the past year, we are not yet out of the big, nasty downward triangle. But we're getting there, right? If we can break out of that big, nasty triangle, the fall of 20 grand to, whatever it was, 32, and wherever we're now, 42. If you look at that timeline graph over the past year, we're still in the negative downward momentum. But you could definitely say, if we're not at the bottom, it feels like we're near or at it, and we've bounced up a little from it. And will we go hit further bottoms before we start seeing a real bull cycle? And how, when can you expect your marketing to run during the next bull cycle? Well, you don't know. But if you plan it right, if you look at just the data, you can kind of get a feeling as a marketer that this is a year to be doing as much as you can with whatever limited resources you have, despite the bear market. Because again, it looks like this bear market could easily have really already crossed the finish line, and we're just going to figure it out within another few months, just like it happened last time. It wasn't really obvious until several months after it ended that it was really officially over. Same thing's probably going to happen here. We won't know for sure that it's really ended until it goes up really above, a certain whatever level, if you want to call it, for a certain amount of time. You need at least a month or two to really say, okay, or even 3 to say, okay, we're definitely in a climbing maneuver here, and it's very obvious when that happens. It could be this year. It could be next year. It could be the year after. we don't know, right? It could take years to get there. But does it seem like there's a lot of momentum heading in the direction of a bull run this year? Yeah. Why? Well, because too many banks and too many financial institutions have put too many billions of dollars into this market to just let it sit around for years and not be profitable, right? They'd rather just, why not just put that money in something that is making the money and do that? Because they know this is the future of money, so they're willing to invest a little time. But they're not willing to sit on it for 5-10 years to start seeing it make something. They want to start seeing it see action ASAP. And that's why you're still seeing for people, the push for people to get ETFs done, even this year, even though that won't necessarily make or break the market by itself. But you're still seeing action for it, like people want it to be approved this year. It won't likely be approved this year. But you don't really need an ETF, but still people want it because it's a signal to the market, that there's this financial institution and these financial vehicle packages you can use. So again, these are all positive signals that in any normal trading market would have prices spiking like mad and continuously for the whole year. Like I don't want to go nuts here on this, but I don't want to harp on this too much. But if you think about it, the past year, with all the good news that there was, compared to the year before when it was all hype, the price should have actually gone up from 20K to, a couple 100K now. For those who are accumulating, aren't you glad it didn't? But if you think about it realistically, the only reason it didn't is because all the companies itching to market stuff, including many of the ones I work on, are not yet able to do so. They can't yet flip the switch and say, okay, everything's ready, let's go. There's a lot of stuff still in development. Some of it's deep in development. It won't be out for years, right? Some of it's current. It's going to be released very soon. Some of it's, throughout the year. There's always development, different stages and process. But when you look at all the tech that's been under development the past year, that is hyperactive amounts of development that's been happening in crypto compared to previous years. Hyperactive, right? Because it's a trailing effect. All that rush into crypto, shoving money into crypto in 2017, all that money got spent, and after the collapse, hopefully the ones who are smart ICOs or smart, cryptos launching in 2017, and there are some who are, they invested a good chunk of their money that they raised into actually hiring people and getting work done and getting things done, as opposed to the the cheapo ones who just sort of like, oh, we'll just sit on our crypto and just we'll do the cheapo version of a company, and they aren't doing very much, and most of them are trailing off and dying, right? And that's going to happen. A lot of them are going to trail off and die, and the ones that survive are the ones who made forward motion now during the bear, at the end of the bear or whatever, and for the past year they've been making forward motion. So I hope you've been among those people making the forward motion, as I've been constantly begging all of you to make sure you're doing in the lounge. I know you all have in the lounge, but also those of you who occasionally listen to us on the YouTube. I still don't know how you find us. I think that's remarkable. I share it on Twitter and such, and the Facebook, but not very many places. So thanks for all of you who come to us not from those usual outlets. Appreciate you all being here and watching our videos. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're having a great Sunday, and that you're having an enjoyable weekend, and that you're not thinking too much about work or crypto. But if you did happen to listen to this on Sunday, well then, I guess you're like me. You can't get away from this stuff. It haunts you day and night, even when you're thinking about other things. And so yeah, I really am glad for putting this stuff out there, and I hope you enjoy it. And before I get too long-winded about this, all I'm going to say is thanks again. Leave a comment, like, share, whatever you like. And until next time, folks, take care.